PlayStation Vita 2, I mean the Steam Deck. It's an incredible piece of electronic engineering, and in today's video I would like to discuss the advantages and disadvantages and my overall opinion about the Steam Deck in 2023. The Steam Deck, it's a portable PC first and foremost. You can use it as a console handheld device, but you will miss out on a lot of fun. And with this introduction out of the way, let's jump to my review of the Steam Deck, starting with the overall design of the system. The Steam Deck has a very simplistic black design and I appreciate it. If you are one of these people who don't like simplistic looking electronics, do not feel subjugated because you can use third-party shells custom stickers to customize your deck to your heart's content. Everything is customizable, even the startup screen animation. You get points by buying games and the Steam Deck itself on Valve's website. With these points you can buy custom themes, digital keyboards, startup screens, and you can create your own Steam Deck to your liking. The Steam Deck feels also very good in hand because of its ergonomic design. It's one of the best handhelds to hold because of its ergonomic design, even without a grip or any other accessories. The button layout at first glance does look very weird and uncomfortable to use, but I can confirm firsthand that the button layout is very well made and very satisfying to use. The Steam Deck has a weight of 669 grams. Valve really needed to put the number 69 somewhere. In reference, the Nintendo Switch standard model has a weight of 398 grams, what isn't a huge difference if you ask me. Let's check how the buttons feel on the Steam Deck. The A, B, Y and X buttons feel very clicky, very nice and very satisfying to use. The D-pad is also not bad. It's not the best D-pad, but it's still very nice, very acceptable. I would say above average. The L1 and R1 buttons feel very nice, very clicky, I like it. The L2 and R2 buttons are okayish. I personally don't like how soft these buttons feel. I wish they had more resistance. On the contrary, the joysticks feel very good, in my opinion, one of the best joysticks, analog sticks I have ever seen. They are not too soft but also not too resistant. I like the grip, the texture of these joysticks and pressing the analog sticks, the L3 and R3 buttons feel very nice. Now let's try the trackpads, one of the biggest features of the Steam Deck. They feel very nice, very responsive, and I like the HD rumble they provide, the haptic feedback. It really feels like a scroll wheel of an actual physical mouse. The small buttons on the top are mostly used as your select and start buttons. They have some other functions, but you will mostly use them as your select and start buttons. The Steam Deck has also the Steam button. It's mostly used to exit your games, to access your settings or to shut down your system. It's pretty much your home button. The 3-dot button on the right side, it's a very unique button with a lot of functionality. It has so much functionality that I will skip this button for now and talk about it in a later part of the video. But let me tell you, this button, it's amazing. On the top of your system you have your usual speaker buttons, minus and plus. They feel very nice and very clicky. On the top right side of your system you have your power button, shutdown button and obviously your sleep button, so power button. The button feels very nice, very clicky, I like it. But what is this? We have 4 buttons on the back. If you ever used a Pro controller, you will know what those buttons actually do. Those buttons are called L4, L5 and R4 and R5 buttons. You can program them to use them as any button replacement. So for example, if you play a shooter game, you can program those back buttons to serve as your shooter buttons. This gives you a huge competitive advantage because you can always use your analog sticks. You don't need to move your fingers away from your analog sticks and still shoot your enemy. I use these buttons very rarely, but that's because I play mostly JRPGs, like for example Soul Hackers 2, so I don't necessarily need them. Anyways, let's now move to the features segment of this video. The Steam Deck has a lot of features because it's a PC first and foremost. And I will probably need to skip some of the features because I don't want this video to end up being over 2 hours long. Because I already teased you in the design section of this video about this 3-dot button, let's start talking about this button. With this button you can access everything, quick settings where you can change the brightness of the screen while you are still in-game. The screen brightness setting will also obviously impact the battery life of your system. There you can also access the microphone, the speaker setting, but also settings like airplane mode to save your battery life, Wi-Fi setting, Bluetooth, night mode, rumble, Steam haptics and more. But then you also have the performance task, what has its own benefits, like seeing the exact number how much playtime you have left. The performance overlay also allows you to see the performance of the game, the frame rate, the CPU and GPU temperatures, RAM and VRAM usage, fan speed, yes, even how fast your fans are spinning. This is very impressive from a software engineering standpoint. You can also limit your screen refresh rate from 15 to 60 FPS. So let's say you cannot hit 60 FPS in demanding looking games, like for example PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 next gen games. You can lock your screen refresh rate to 40 FPS and get a smooth experience. Here you can also force the FSR AMD upscaling solution if the game you play doesn't support it, but if the game you play supports FSR, I would highly advise to use the FSR solution in-game over forcing it yourself. The 3-dot button has way too much functionality, what just shows that this truly is a PC, simplified for console gamers. Valve obviously wanted to please both the console and PC gamers, and I think they did an excellent job. I would also like to mention the sleep mode. This is obviously a must-have for any console gamer nowadays. Even handhelds like the Nintendo 3DS and the PlayStation Vita had a sleep mode. The sleep mode on the Steam Deck works flawlessly, but there is a small catch. When I start downloading my games on my Steam Deck and put it in sleep mode, the game stops downloading? Why? Just why? Why? What? Val, come here, come closer. Closer. I said closer. Okay, is this the end of the world? No, it's not. I can download my games while my screen is still turned on. Yes, it will drain slightly more of my battery, but usually the Steam Deck doesn't take that much time to download, because the Wi-Fi chip on the Steam Deck is very good. Still, the fact that I cannot download my game while my screen is turned off, put it in sleep mode, it's stupid. This is easily fixable with an update. This is clearly a software issue, so please Valve, fix it. Another feature I love about the Steam Deck is the fact that I can switch between Steam mode, Steam's own OS and the desktop mode. The desktop mode, how the mode suggests, it's the Linux mode, where you can use your Steam Deck like a standard PC. You can install third-party software, emulators, go surf on the internet, manage your files and folders, edit your videos and pictures, anything you want. If you are a console gamer and you feel intimidated by so many options, don't feel intimidated. You don't need to use the desktop PC mode ever. The desktop PC mode is designed for people who want to dig deeper into what the Steam Deck has to actually offer. Another great feature not only the Steam Deck has but Valve Launcher in general are cloud saves. For example, once I got my Steam Deck, I downloaded Persona 5 Golden on it and got immediately access to all of my save files from my desktop PC via cloud saves. Cloud saves are so convenient. For example, I can play Hi-Fi Rush on my desktop PC, turn it off and bring my Steam Deck with me outside of my house, and all, when I say all, I mean all of my save files are right there on my Steam Deck. Also, can we give Valve a W for actually including a 3.5mm headphone jack? Thank you Valve, thank you so much. No, I should thank you my child for buying my deck. Not this deck, this deck. If you guys didn't subscribe to this cool YouTuber, what are you waiting for? Leave a subscribe! Jesus Game has spoken. Okay, didn't expect Gabe to show up in my video, the owner of Valve. Anyways, let's now discuss the games on the Steam Deck. The deck is very versatile. It can play games from a huge library of PC games, but it also has another strong tool called emulation. The deck can emulate almost any console, and when I say any console, I mean any console. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and Nintendo Wii U. Playing God of War 3 natively on a portable device feels so unreal. But yes, here we are. Most people who follow me will know that my preferred game genre is the RPG genre, and let me tell you, Nintendo Switch who? PlayStation 4 who? PlayStation 5 who? Nintendo 3DS who? The Steam Deck takes the JRPG crown. Not only do you get JRPG games you wouldn't otherwise on the console, really obscure, really weird games, but with emulation you also get the exclusive games you never got before, and games that never got ported to other systems. Playing PlayStation 2 JRPGs like Xenosaga, Shadow Hearts, Wild Arms 4 and 5, Grandia, Suikoden, Breath of Fire, or Wii U JRPGs like Tokyo Mirage Session FE and Xenoblade Chronicles X. And all of this portable feels so unreal. Or do you want to play PC games like for example Cyberpunk, Spider-Man, Uncharted, Assassin's Creed, God of War, Star Wars, Red Dead Redemption 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, and all of this portable it's At any rate, do not expect all games to run flawlessly on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck uses a Linux-based operating system, because most Windows-based games cannot run on Linux. Valve created a new amazing solution to this problem called the Proton layer. Proton was created as a translation layer to make games that usually wouldn't run on Linux run on it. How I said at the beginning of the video, the deck is a PC first and foremost, what means that even if you run into a problem, there is most likely a solution. In my humble opinion, I don't think the issue is that big, and Valve made a great job bringing PC Windows games to Linux. In addition, you can always refund a game that isn't functioning on your Steam Deck. Valve has a policy that allows users to refund a game that they played for 2 hours or under 2 hours. In any case, now that we have discussed the amazing game library on the Steam Deck, I would like to bring more focus on the battery life of the system. On the Valve's official website, they say that the battery life of the Steam Deck is between 2 and 8 hours, and what we all know, the truth lies somewhere in between. Obviously, if you play more graphically intensive games like for example God of War or Spider-Man, your battery life will be worse compared to indie style games. From my experience, the battery life it's fine, I never run into serious problems. In some games I will get 4 or even 5 hours of battery life, while in other games 2 hours will be the extent of my play session. I would nonetheless recommend a power bank if you want to bring this device with you on a long trip. A power bank should be a handheld gamer's best friend and a lifesaver once the battery dries out. If you want to save battery life, I would also highly recommend turning off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, lowering the brightness of your screen, maybe lock down your frame rate to 30 or 40 FPS instead of 50 and 60 FPS, and so on and so on. Valve absolutely left the battery life decision to you to decide and not to the developers themselves. Let's now discuss the last topic of this video. This is the actual price structure of the Steam Deck and the actual price structure of the games. The starting price of the Steam Deck is $399.99, so $400. So if you live in Europe, with European taxes, it comes around €420, depending on the country you are living in. My model is the cheapest one, €420 in Europe. Honestly, this is not a huge compromise model as you think it is. You even get a carrying case. With all models you get a carrying case. So this is a huge W for Valve right here. The only difference between models is the higher storage. But here is the kicker. With all models you can use a microSD card. I have multiple microSD cards for that purpose, some bigger ones and some smaller ones. From my research and understanding, the read and write speed doesn't matter after 100 MB per second. Like me, like this Samsung 512GB microSD card with a write and read speed of 130 MB per second. You will only use 100 MB per second, not 130 MB per second. Either way, even with the 512GB SSD model, the most expensive Steam Deck model, at a price of $680 upwards, you will still need a microSD card upgrade. PC games are very large in size. Maybe you would also like to have some emulators, but let's return to the main focus of this topic, the different models. The second model goes for $550 upwards and has a 256GB SSD. I personally think this model doesn't offer enough to justify the price, but the same can be said for the most expensive model. And the difference of the most expensive model isn't that big. There are some small benefits like a virtual keyboard, like exclusive virtual keyboard, a slightly different carrying case, what isn't really a huge deal, and the anti-glare screen, what is pretty much the biggest benefit of this model. Sadly, even with the most expensive model, the fun ends at 512GB internal storage. Unless you open up the system yourself, you can technically this way add 1TB and even 2TB internal SSD storage. My recommendation would be to go the cheapest route, the cheapest model, and just upgrade your microSD card storage. Or if you want to switch out the SSD. Also be aware of the shader cache issue. Doesn't matter if you have the cheapest model or the most expensive one, you will run into it sooner or later. I will not explain what shader caches are, because if I do, we will be here for hours and hours, so yeah. But in short, shader caches are assets what console can utilize to avoid stutters, well known as shader cache stutters. On PC you usually don't see shader cache utilized because each PC it's different, it's slightly different, has a slightly different configuration. However, on the Steam Deck you have a specific set of hardware. That's why you can utilize shader cache quite nicely on the Steam Deck. The problem is that the shader cache can be very large, in some games 20 or 30 GB, so even if you install your games on a microSD card, the shader cache will fill up your eternal 64 GB storage model very fast. However, there are solutions you can use. One is to disable downloading any shader cache whatsoever. The second solution is to move the shader cache on a microSD card. Or what I did is just to delete the shader cache and move on to the next game, after you are done playing the game. How I said it before and I will say it again, this is a PC, not a console. Valve did an amazing job simplifying the journey for people who never owned a PC, for console gamers, but you cannot change who you are. Anyways, now that we have discussed all the models, let's move on to the games. We all have probably heard about the crazy, famous Steam discounts created by our Lord and Savior, Gabe Newell. Look at these prices! Ooh. You have also other options to find games cheap, like for example key store websites. I used a couple of times Kinguin. I don't know about other websites who sell keys, but I can assure you, Kinguin is very reliable. You have also other stores and even subscription services like Game Pass. However, because Game Pass isn't available on Linux, getting it to work does take some efforts. It's not impossible and there are definitely some workarounds. With this in mind, the Steam Deck offers enough variety to get games very cheap for a very affordable price. And yeah guys, this was my video about the Steam Deck. I will obviously list here all the advantages and disadvantages of the Steam Deck. Overall, this device is a true life changer. If you are into handheld gaming, this device will absolutely satisfy you, no doubts about it. But what do you think about the Steam Deck? Are you eager to get one, or do you already own one? Let me know down below. And with this out of the way, I wish you all a wonderful day. Sayonara my good old handheld and Steam Deck friends. Bye, bye, and ciao.